President of TRIAD Resources Group out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have affiliations with TRIAD Global Solutions in Nigeria and also in South Sudan, where we have been trying to address the problem of water quality, providing the ability for safe water supply to those people in the sub-Saharan nations. We've long been overwhelmed with the reality that water is one of the most fundamental qualities of human life, and yet it's one that's so sorely lacking. The United Nations has recognized the difficulties of water and for years has established this as one of their primary goals, to be able to have safe water supplies available for people in these sub-Saharan countries. And yet, despite all of the effort and the 2 decades of time and attention and focus, they realize that while some progress has been made in some areas, it's largely remained unchanged. The challenges that are there are overwhelming and don't just affect the quality of drinking water, but the basic health of individuals within these countries. 80% of the healthcare costs in most of the sub-Saharan nations are attributed to waterborne diseases. And they've recognized that if they could have safe water supplies, that they would be able to lower the cost of healthcare by 80% in these countries. In Nigeria alone, the economic cost of not having safe water in the country is regarded at 1.6 trillion naira per year. And yet on the other side, they say that it will take 16 trillion naira to be able to reach 80% safe water supplies for the entire country over the next 10 years to meet the 2020 Millennium Development Goals. The fundamental problem is that it's not just the water sources, but it's the method in which things are being applied. The countries do not have safe sources of water. They don't have consistent electricity. They don't have treatment capacity to be able to handle the water and to be able to have safe water. So whether it's coming from a municipal plant, they don't have the equipment or the chemicals always to keep the water flowing properly, and the municipal plants cannot address the water issues for the people in the rural areas. If it goes through the municipal plant, they don't have the safe delivery systems so that the pipes don't ensure that the water is being delivered properly to have safe water supply available for the people. Those that place reliance upon boreholes have been misled into understanding that boreholes are always a safe source of water. The United Nations regards boreholes as one of the safe sources of water, and yet 1 out of 3 boreholes tested by the United Nations were found to be contaminated and unsafe for consumption. So when you take the traditional methods of having municipally treated water, or having boreholes, or protected dug wells, they've come to realize that those sources are not safe, and largely because those safe sources do not have the ability to treat the water, and the pollution and the contamination around the area then otherwise contaminate the water source, rendering the water unsafe. We've realized that the water solution must be to have safe water treated at the point of consumption. That if you're taking water out of a municipal plant, you can't guarantee that you always have the manpower, the equipment, or the chemicals on hand to ensure that that water is leaving the plant as safe water, as realized by the instances of deaths that have occurred from